If you're trying to lose weight, but you're always hungry, then the problem might not be your discipline. It might be your food choices. Because some foods make it much easier to stay in a calorie deficit without constantly fighting cravings. And in this video, I'll show you 10 simple foods that can help you do exactly that. Now, just to be clear, no food burns fat on its own. Fat loss comes from consistently eating fewer calories than your body burns. But here's where most people struggle. They try to eat less, but they end up feeling hungry all the time, and that's why they can't stick to it. So the goal isn't just eating less, it's choosing foods that make eating less feel easier. Let's start with one of the most effective categories, protein. A lot of people eat breakfast and feel hungry again just a couple of hours later. That usually happens when the meal is low in protein. Eggs are different. They're high in protein, which helps you stay full longer and reduces the urge to snack. So instead of constantly thinking about your next meal, you actually feel satisfied. And that makes a big difference over time. On top of that, your body burns more calories digesting protein compared to carbs or fats. That means you're not just eating less, your body is also working harder behind the scenes. Next is salmon. Some meals feel light, but don't really satisfy you, so you end up looking for snacks not long after. Salmon solves that. Salmon is another high-protein food, but it also contains omega-3 fats. These help with overall health and make your meals more filling. So you're not just eating, you're actually staying full for longer, which helps control your total calories naturally. Now here's where most people get this wrong. They try to eat less, but they end up eating smaller portions of high-calorie food. That's why low-calorie, high-volume foods matter. Foods like spinach, celery, and cucumbers. These are mostly water and fiber, which means you can add a lot of them into your meal without consuming many calories. Sometimes when you feel hungry, you're actually just used to snacking. Cucumber gives you that crunch and volume, without adding much calories at all. Personally, I like to snack on cucumbers with a little bit of salt for flavor instead of reaching for chips or biscuits. So you still get the habit of eating something, but without slowing down your progress. Talking about snacks. Now here's a snack that surprises a lot of people, popcorn. But this only applies to plain air-popped popcorn, not caramel popcorn, not butter-loaded popcorn. Because once you add sugar or heavy toppings, the calories go up very quickly. But in its simple form, popcorn is high in volume and relatively low in calories. So you can eat a decent portion, feel satisfied, and still stay within your calorie target. Now this next one is underrated, soup. A lot of people go into a meal very hungry and end up overeating without realizing it. But having a bowl of soup before your main meal can actually reduce how much you eat afterward, because it fills you up early. So when you start eating your main dish, you naturally eat less, without forcing yourself. Now this is where things start to get practical. A lot of people struggle because they feel like they have to give up foods they enjoy. But you don't always have to remove, you can replace. Zucchini is a good example. You can turn it into noodles and use it instead of pasta. All you have to do is slice or spiralize the zucchini, then lightly cook it like pasta. So you still get a similar eating experience, but with much fewer calories. Same with cauliflower. You can chop it into smaller pieces, lightly cook it, and even add some black pepper or simple seasoning for taste. It can be used as rice, mashed potatoes, even pizza base. At first it might feel different, but over time your taste adapts. And once that happens, it becomes much easier to control your calorie intake without feeling restricted. And finally, foods that help with hydration. Watermelon is a great example. Sometimes cravings come from wanting something sweet. Watermelon gives you that sweetness while being mostly water. It's over 90% water, which helps you feel full while keeping calories low. You can even add a small pinch of salt if you like to enhance the flavor. Now I want to be clear about something. None of these foods are magic. You can still gain weight eating them if you overeat. But when you build your diet around foods like this, you make fat loss much easier to sustain. Fat loss isn't about cutting everything you enjoy or starving yourself. It's about choosing foods that make it easier to stay consistent without constant hunger. And sustainability is what actually gets results. Not intensity, not extreme diets, just consistency over time. If this video helped you understand things a bit clearer, I appreciate you taking the time to watch it. What I focus on here is simple, realistic approaches that middle-aged men can actually stick to, because that's what gets real results. If that's something you're working on, you can stick around for more. Simple, realistic, and built for middle-aged men, because that's what actually works.